hello.
I'm American writer and broadcaster, and we just want to get your take on all the gag worthiness of the jokes. First, let's hear what President Biden had to say about Mr. Trump.
I had a great stretch since the State of the Union. Well, Donald has had a few tough days lately. You might call it stormy weather. Trump's so desperate he started reading those Bibles he's selling. Then he got to the first commandment. You shall have no other gods before me. That's when he put it down and said, this book's not for me.
Well, I had forgotten, in fairness, that he was flogging Bibles, so that's a good it's a good reminder. Katie, marks out of 10.
Well, I have to say, he's not known, Joe Biden, for being hilarious, and he is known for being a little bit of a stumble bum, owing to the fact that he has a stutter that he is admirably overcome. But given all of that, I think those jokes landed. I'd say a good 7.95.
Oh, Katie, I'm not sure about that. Stormy weather?
Stormy weather, come on. I mean, here's the whole point. He's making gags, but also he's reminding viewers and listeners what he's up against. And it's kind of extraordinary.
Yeah, but what he's up against is a man whose trial actually resumes tomorrow. That's Donald Trump. He's got other court cases against him. He should be winning by a street, old Joe, and he isn't. So
Yes.
actually, it's a painful reminder, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's, I mean, this whole White House Correspondents Association dinner is a little bit of a hate watch in that it just has a implicit dissonance. You have both the White House and the correspondents licking each other up and down. You know, there's supposed to be a certain amount of nonpartisan, unbiased coverage, and yet they're kind of cozying up to each other while doing this very awkward roast. So it's kind of a sphincter clencher to watch.
Okay. The comedian, a man called Colin Jost, is that what?
Yeah,
right? Colin
that's
Jost,
it.
yeah? He also spoke at the event, and he did make a couple of jokes at the expense of Biden and Trump's age.
I love, by the way, that Trump's two attacks on President Biden are that he's a senile old man and a criminal mastermind. I'm like, I think you gotta pick one. Also, it's not like Trump himself is young and sharp. I'm not saying both candidates are old, but you know Jimmy Carter is out there thinking, I could maybe win this thing.
You know, there's a certain amount of just wistful melancholy in watching it because as an American, I remember back in 2011 when Trump was in attendance, and this was during the Obama years, and we had Seth Meyers, also a Saturday Night Live weekend update host, hosting the event. And everyone says that that was the event that Donald Trump decided he was going to run for president because he was being so mercilessly mocked by an uber cool Obama.
Obama was so good that night, but actually maybe he was so good it had appalling implications for the rest of us.
Well, one thing we know absolutely about Donald J. Trump is that he is so motivated by revenge. I mean, that's the exhaust fumes that chokes everybody else, but that gives him his mojo.
But he's also cowed, isn't he? Because he didn't go to this, and he doesn't go to places where he thinks he's going to get
Well,
sent up.
tellingly, he didn't attend the 4 years that he was in the White House. So he may have sent a child, an adult child, or he may have sent some sort of representative, but he never wanted to put himself in that position again. He has absolutely no sense of humor. He's a very brittle fellow.
Yeah, he's a jolly bad sport.
Isn't he?
He really is. You could feel when Joe Biden said stormy weather, there's a kind of a strain. It's a little bit like a member of the royal family making a joke, and you're desperate to laugh. So you strain every jocular sinew to get some appropriate noise out there.
I think that your jocular sinew is unutterably British, and so you're doing that extra layer. I think for Americans, there's more of a grandpa kind of approach to it.
She's a very tough crowd,
I am a
Katie.
tough
On a
crowd.
daily basis, she's a tough crowd.
You're withering.
I am not withering. I've got a soft side. Actually, no, I haven't. Thank you very much indeed, Katie.
Let's make time as well just for your thoughts about the White House Correspondents Association dinner. Do you go to this august event every year, Alistair?
I didn't go this year. I went last year. I didn't go this year, and I think that last year, might have been funnier than this year. And it's a sort of tradition where Joe Biden will get on the stage and he'll, as they say here, roast his political opponents, ribbing them, and then there's a comedian that does the same to Joe Biden. There were a few jokes, and I'm not sure they were terribly good. I know you've got someone coming on after who's better qualified to assess that. But the tone of the speech was also quite serious. He spoke about the war. He spoke about the fact that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, which all earnest and good to hear, but not necessarily in keeping with the traditions of the dinner.
Yeah, there are some extraordinary photographs, aren't there, from outside the actual venue, with protesters lying down in the street and people in ball gowns and black tie having to step over them. It's quite powerful stuff.
Well, there again, that's the spread of the anti-war protests here in the States. There was a move by Palestinian journalists to try and persuade other reporters to boycott the dinner in solidarity. That didn't happen. The dinner was sold out many times over, but that didn't stop a lot of protesters going outside the dinner and making their point very vocally as people were arriving. I mean, it's said to be a celebration of the First Amendment, the right to free speech, and so people arriving couldn't really complain too much that there were people demonstrating outside.
No, not at all. Alistair, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. That's Alistair Dawber.